The clock struck 9:15 a.m. when Daniel rushed through the glass doors of Whitestone Industries, his breath heavy, his shirt clinging with sweat. But before he could even catch his breath, a sharp voice cut through the air. "Late again," boomed Mr. Gregory Shaw, the company's ruthless CEO. His eyes narrowed, and a smirk of superiority spread across his face. "You're done here, Daniel. Pack your things. You're fired." What Gregory didn't know was that the reason Daniel was late would reveal more about loyalty, sacrifice, and true success than all of Gregory's millions ever could. Because sometimes, the person you dismiss as unworthy is carrying a weight you could never bear. The office buzzed with quiet tension. Rows of employees glanced nervously at the confrontation, pretending to type but listening closely. Mr. Gregory Shaw, a man in his mid-50s, sharply dressed in an expensive tailored suit, was infamous for his arrogance. He believed time was money, and in his eyes, Daniel had just wasted both. Daniel Rivera, on the other hand, was 28 years old. A quiet, humble employee. His clothes weren't fancy, his shoes were worn, and his tie had seen better days. But behind his tired eyes lay a story no one in that office knew. Gregory slammed his hand against the desk. "You think I pay you to show up whenever you please? This is a billion-dollar company, not some charity." Daniel tried to speak, but Gregory cut him off. "Save it. I don't need excuses. Out." The office froze in silence. Gregory's words hung heavy, the balance of power so clearly tilted in his favor. But Daniel, holding back his frustration, simply lowered his eyes and nodded. He gathered his things quietly. Not a word of protest left his lips. As Daniel walked out of the office for what he thought was the last time, whispers began to swirl. A colleague who had seen him earlier that morning stepped forward timidly. "Sir, maybe you should hear him out. He wasn't just late." Gregory's eyes flashed. "And why should I care?" The colleague swallowed hard. "Because before he came here, Daniel stopped on the highway. There was an accident. A car had flipped. He pulled a man out, carried him to safety, and even waited until the ambulance arrived. If it weren't for him, that driver might not be alive right now." The office went still. All eyes shifted to Gregory. Moments later, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed down the hallway. 2 men in suits and a woman with a hospital badge walked in. One of the men, his arm wrapped in bandages, spotted Daniel instantly. "There he is," the man said, voice cracking with emotion. "That's the man who saved my life." The room gasped. Gregory's face drained of color. The injured man stepped forward, shaking Daniel's hand with gratitude. "You didn't just save me," he continued. "You saved my family from losing a husband and father." And then, turning to Gregory, the man added, "I was on my way here. I'm the new investor you've been waiting to meet. And if this is how you treat your employees, firing them without listening, then perhaps I should reconsider my partnership." The weight of the words crushed Gregory. His smug confidence evaporated in an instant. His billion-dollar empire suddenly hung in the balance. Daniel, the man he had mocked as unreliable, now stood in a position of quiet power. The irony cut deeper than any insult ever could. With the eyes of the office fixed on him, Gregory stammered, "Daniel, I didn't know." But Daniel, with calm dignity, simply replied, "You never cared to ask." The investor, moved by Daniel's humility, announced that the deal would only move forward if Daniel stayed employed, at a higher position. Gregory had no choice but to agree. The very man he had fired became the reason his company was saved. As Daniel walked back into the office, the employees sat straighter, pride swelling in their chests. Justice had been served. Because in the end, arrogance blinds us, but compassion reveals the truth. And respect? It isn't measured by money, titles, or punctuality. It's measured by humanity. Moral of the story: never judge someone's worth by appearances or circumstances you don't understand. The person you dismissed today might be the one holding your future tomorrow.